Not literally like you see in movies about making movies. This is just a regular old office chair that I assume is for me. Grateful to have finally arrived, already dreading having to repeat the process, I drop my bag on the desk and flop into the chair, only to have it tip back so fast that my skull smacks into the wall and my glasses fall off my face and into my lap. Clark Kent across the way is definitely not a superhero in disguise. He doesn't try to save me from the evil chair. He barely glances up. Instead of even a look of concern from him, I'm faced with glares from a row of tiny action figures that line the edge of his desk. Undeterred, unwilling to let neither a lost parking pass, nor improperly filed paperwork, nor a too-small-to-share office, nor a malevolent chair, nor armed toys keep me from my dreams, I take a cleansing breath and unpack my briefcase. After spending a ridiculous amount of time organizing my desk, like it's the first day of school and I've got all my supplies but no idea what we're supposed to do with them, I'm about to ask the guy if he knows where the break room is. I'd kill for another cup of coffee. Or anything about what the heck we're doing here, when the door flies open and smacks into the desk, making me yelp. Loudly. Clark Kent's head snaps up like he forgot I was here. Then, a man with gelled-up Luke Perry hair sticks his head in the door. He looks back and forth between Clark and me, and then, perhaps deciding that I am the more obvious source of the high-pitched yelp, asks, "Are you all right, honey?" I do manage to squelch the impulse to tell him I'm not his honey, but I can't do the same for the frustration coloring my tone when I ask, "Is this your office, too?" He throws his head back and barks out a series of laughs. When he's finished, he sighs. "Ah, baby writers. Growing like tribbles around here." Wearing a bowling shirt that he must have stolen from his grandpa, he can't be too much older than me or Clark Kent over there, but before I can manage a comeback, he snaps his fingers at us. Come on, you two. I'm here to give you the orientation." Somehow, I managed to negotiate the edge of the desk again without getting a run in my hose on the dismount. The men usher me out first, but since I don't know which direction we're going, I hover by the wall while they follow. "This way," Snappy calls, stalking down the hall. Before Clark can gesture, "After you," again, I note that his shoulders are even broader than I'd thought, though his baggy Ren and Stimpy shirt doesn't give too many hints as to the rest of his physique. Not that I care. At this point, I don't even want to know their names. I'm happy with the ones I've given them.
George. Bowling shirt man leads vintage dress girl down the hall. I follow, waiting for a hole to open up and swallow me. Not that there's an earthquake happening. Unfortunately, I know exactly what that feels like, having moved to LA just days before the big one in '94. No, this gaping hole is just my hyper-imagination wondering how the hell I got here. I mean, I know how I got here. From my place in the upper reaches of Van Nuys, I drove my beater down the 405 for what seemed like hours. Even though it's a major freeway, sometimes the traffic was at a complete standstill. Commuters in cars around me were more prepared. People ate breakfast, read the paper, applied makeup. I think one guy was even shining his shoes. Eventually, I made it to the 10, took it to Robertson, and then, Thomas Guide map next to me for reference, navigated to the Culver City studio where I was handed a parking pass. Once I'd located the writer's building, I was directed to an office on the 5th floor, where I waited for what felt like hours, doodling until vintage dress girl showed up. And the room went from black and white to color. Bowling shirt whirls to face us, startling me back to the present. Like a steward on an airplane, his tone robotic, he points with arms in parallel, hands flat. Behind you, the emergency exit should you decide that this trip is not for you. To your left, the kitchen, fuel up as needed. To your right, the storeroom. Enter at your own risk. He smooths his hair, even though it looks like it wouldn't dare move, before checking a fancy watch. That's it. Meeting in 10. We'll break you in while we break story. With one finger, he points at his chest. I'm Bryce. Welcome to Lawson's Reach.